So today is 3/22/22. So lots of twos in there. We were just having a conversation about bending water and manifesting with water. Cynthia's reading a book. She'll be back. She just dropped off. And there was, while speaking about that, so there was a, I'll wait till she comes back in. There she is. Oh, Christina's here too, yay. So there is, there's a man, he actually recently transitioned a year or two ago, Masaru Emoto. And if you ever saw the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? He was featured in it, where he would do these experiments where he would like feed water with like, just even writing on the bottle, right? Like these loving statements and then these hateful statements. and the ones with the hateful statements, it looked like it was like bacteria inside. And the ones that got loving statements had like snowflakes, like there were these like crystals within the water. And his whole point of that is, you know, our bodies are like something like 75% water, right? Or like, so imagine what's happening in our body when we're feeding ourselves like self-hate statements versus self-loving statements. So I'm interested to hear, as you continue to read that, Cynthia, like what happens with that. I've got no agenda today. I actually have to go pick something up at 11:50. That was, I didn't think about it before I set the time, but the other time was, oh, it's 11:11. We're not hearing you, Cynthia. Christina's like, thumbs up, 11:11. So I'm DJing on, so I'm leaving tonight to go to Goddess Awakening. It is my first festival operating as the Cosmic Playground. Super excited. I keep losing Cynthia. Something must be with her connection today. And I'm leading a cosmic groove on Sunday from 11:11 to 1:11. I'm like, I need a 2-hour window. And I was like, I don't know. And I'm calling it Sunday Church of the Bang Bang Boogity Beat. Oh, I crack myself up. So I'll be bringing you all with me this weekend for sure. Here's Cynthia again. All good. So yeah, so I'm going to hand over the reins of the call at some point here, make someone else the host. And then I'll probably rejoin from my car. I don't know if I can do that, but I might have to.
Probably why it had me log in as you before, huh?
Oh, maybe, right? But I was already logged in, so that's why it didn't do that. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Anybody got anything there?
Well, I'd like to say something. My uncle, Richard Forrest, passed away, and I went to his funeral this weekend in Colorado, and I'm wondering if anyone has heard anything from him.
So immediately I'm getting like, it's kind of like, it's weird because I got a first impression and then a second impression. So first of all, that he's like better where he is. And then I was like, he's at a good place. And then the second message that came in was like, he's still a little confused. Like he's still not, like there's not the full transition hasn't happened yet. Like there's still a little like where am I, what happened?
Okay.
But that he was, I'm like, I'm caressing my heart. So it's like, there's something there, right? Like he's definitely feeling the love, and that was met by like so many loving, like friends and family. Like
Good.
there was a, I have goosebumps too, huge welcome. So
Good.
like he was met in an extraordinary loving way. And
Good.
he's still a little like, it's not quite settled with him that he's not in his physical body anymore.
That makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, it's funny, not haha funny, but funny. So I have a group named Angelic Awakenings, of which Jennifer is part of, and we just lost our first member 2 days ago. One of our members had this really weird. No, the doctors didn't know what was wrong with him. Some sort of virus, they said, in his body. And he was in and out of the hospital, and didn't have anything to do with COVID. It wasn't anything like that. But then all of a sudden he was really sick, on a ventilator. And within a day or so, he was gone. And it was weird because even when I tapped into him, he was already gone. It was almost like the spirit left before the body did. And I'm not talking about a couple days before. It feels to me like when he first got this thing.
Wow.
So I'm wondering how that, first of all, I would be curious to find out with the angels of how that's possible. But I would imagine because we're tethered to our spirit, the spirit can leave the body and still inhabit the body without it being completely there. So somebody had mentioned to me, they said, I don't understand why all the good people are leaving. And I'm like, well, there are some good people that are leaving. There are some not so good people that are leaving. I said, but there is a frequency shift in this world. And some spirits are deciding not to participate in this transition.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so it's, so when you mention your uncle, it just makes me think about his name was Lewis. It just makes me think about Lewis, right? That he went home and he was a very good soul, but he went home for something that could not be identified. The same as my mentor, who passed away and was deteriorating, and they could not identify what it was. So it's very interesting to me energetically what might be going on with those who are doing the work here. So I'd love to discuss about that if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, that would be fine with me.
Can you phrase that in a like concise
Cynthia's
question?
trying to talk, and Cynthia, we can't hear you, but you're not muted.
So what I mean by that is there's a lot of people who are of high vibration or who are doing this type of work, right? This energy. I don't want to call it light workers because I don't like that term as much. There's a lot of heaviness when it comes to that. But people who are high frequency, light filled individuals, and they're choosing to transition rather than being here, but they're transitioning in a strange way, in a way that you can't identify what's going on. So in other words, their spirit is not allowing their body to be healed. They're saying, nope, we're leaving.
That's what happened to my uncle. I mean, the doctors even said that he's strong. He should be able to pull through this. And he didn't, it was really a shock to all of us,
So what I'm sensing, what I'm getting is, so we all have our soul contract, right? And so that for some of these people, their part was to kind of row us towards the finish line, to bring the light as much as they have to this point. And now removing themselves so that others can step into their light, those roles. I had goosebumps, that's how I know it's true. Like, because there's now an opening of leadership, or some, like, leadership's not the right word, but that's the example to step into. And then also, I think that that's, like, we don't really know quite how Ascension works, but we know this new earth and new timeline is coming, right? So there are some, even the most evolved, that I don't think will stay in their physical body and this new earth. And that might be it, is like, there's, so again, I have goosebumps. Like, I think that it's the transitioning or the ascension will maybe happen in layers, you know, I don't know, or in waves.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the call on Saturday that Christy Wallace hosted for this woman, Monica Hanlon. And Monica actually got the message to gather together and go. And she's like, there's this grid above the earth. And she starts talking about, and she's like, I don't know. And like, we're going to create it. And I was like, so, you know, got to tell you, grid already exists. And we've been playing there for a while. And, you know, so I said, you might have felt us or seen us there. I'm like, because we generally invite others who are doing this work into that, to meet us there. You know, I said, so you may have encountered us, we may have encountered you already, you know. But there was something that happened there where there was this kind of scaly arm that came up from the earth, and later was referred to as reptilian, and was like, she didn't want to refer to it as reptilian. And I said, you know, the reptilian have also, like, they also have their contract, and they've had their part to play of really bringing the dark so that we can step into the light and step into our powers, and remember that even the reptilians come from source, even the reptilians are come from love, right? Like, so anything, I'm returned to that, of like, anything that's not love is a call for love. That's the bottom line. Anything that's not love is a call for love. And so there are dark energies, and we've all experienced it in the work that we've done together and with Sandy, and like that there are some lower vibrational dark energies, whatever you want to call them, that are have been stuck in this contract for a really long time to be dark.
Yeah.
They're ready to be light. So I don't know how that translates to your question, Shannon, but it like came up for me of like, there's so much that's shifting right now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm reminded of Dolores Cannon's work, where she talks about first wave, second wave, third wave volunteers. And these first wave volunteers, several whom I've known, were like the way showers of their time. And I think you're right. It's like they were contracted to really pave the road. It's like those of the early gay rights movement. They had it tough, right? So people, you know, the first wave way showers were the ones that really started talking about this stuff early. It's a lot more acceptable to do it now. They had a rougher time. So it's like, okay, we paved the way. You guys who are second wavers that are coming online, you've got to pick up the torch and run with it. So I would agree with everything that you said, Julie.
Thank you. And and there's also like, what's coming up for me too is something that that Steve Noble said about, and it's in one of his transmissions or his higher light decrees that I do often, but I don't remember which one because they kind of I do them all, I kind of rotate them, is that that like we can even alter our karma. Like Shannon was kind of talking about that a couple weeks ago of like, let's release the victim consciousness or victim mindset. And even that we have to work really hard to like overcome this, whatever it is, that the rules of karma are changing as well, I think. And so I think it all ties in together of like, and the people that are leaving in like unusual ways is maybe the earth isn't ready for that they've chosen to like not be in their physical body yet. And so or that maybe it's exactly for this purpose, that it leaves the rest of us to inquire, like, how did they go? What happened? What happens to our spirit? I don't know, like maybe that's the whole purpose, is to create an inquiry.
Mhm.
Well, and if you consider the universalness of consciousness, we experience it because we're at, it's where our focus or attention is, right? Is
Yeah.
on this particular soul experience. You can have people who dropped in from the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. I mean, masters drop back in from the 12th, like bodhisattvas or whatever. And it may be that they signed up to bring their higher consciousness here for a specific period of time. And they're skipping the 5th because they've already, you know what I mean?
Right.
Even though we're thinking of it in linear terms, they're like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to the 9th
Right.
or the 12th or whatever.
Good point.
Yeah, I do think that is true too. Sometimes we always think everyone's supposed to be here for 80, 90 years, but maybe some people are only here in their contracts for 20 years or 3 years or something like that. So,
Like I know with my nephew, I mean, he transitioned at 19. And I've had several people tell me, like, he went when he was supposed to go. But interestingly, he didn't go the way he was originally supposed to go. He was originally supposed to go in an accident, and it was an accident, but it was an accidental overdose. Like he took a pill that he thought was a Vicodin, and it was actually fentanyl. And so it shut his body down immediately. And so I've heard from several people, like, he went when he was supposed to go. And now having contact with him on the other side, he's made it very clear this was his last incarnation. 19 years was all he needed. He got his stuff done, right? So there is that too, of like, and now he's apprenticing, by the way. He's apprenticing with like, somebody saw him apprenticing with Metatron or something. Like
Wow.
he's like
wow.
he's apprenticing. He's like now at a whole other place. Every so often he'll show up again, and I'm like, oh hey, how's the apprenticing going? And then when you're when you're talking about Dolores Cannon, that's QHHT is her whole thing. And I'm actually starting April 1st, I'm finally now like settled enough where I can give it my attention. I'm starting my level 1 certification for QHHT. I'm super freaking excited about it. Can't wait, because that's a whole other, like, I've also already been doing some of that, but like a lot of times doing past life regressions with clients, it's like I'm doing I'm I'm doing the work, or like I'm doing that rather than guiding them through it and letting them, have the experience on their own authentically. And I listen to a lot of QHHT. It's interesting too. I'll share on the Collective Creation page some of the QHHTs I've been listening to. there was one Eric and I were listening to yesterday, and it was very much like what we've been doing. So I will say this, and then I'm probably going to hop off the here, and I've made Shannon the host. It'll continue to record. That they were talking about energy, moving energy, sharing this energy that we get, and how to share that. And the message was keep practicing. Like when we're tapped into this source energy, like keep practicing harnessing it and sharing it, harnessing it and sharing it. And then the message also was to, and I think it was King Arthur that came through. I don't remember who it was. It was like an odd energy that came through, or like an unexpected energy that came through. And it was talking about laughter, like it's important to laugh. It's important to like follow your joy, seek play. I was like, that's all the Cosmic Playground is like, let's play, right? So it was really like affirming to hear that, you know, from somewhere else. So, and then the whole thing about the grid, like hearing that from somewhere else, you know, that it's I love that when the affirmations and confirmations come in of like, yeah, this is having an impact what we're doing, and others are feeling it and seeing it and recognizing it as well. So
Yeah.
so I'm off my soapbox now. I'm handing it over to you, Shannon. I'm gonna go on mute. Oh, actually, I don't. Can I go on mute? Oh yeah, because you're host now. And hopefully it still continues to record on my computer. I think it should. So that's why I'm not going to log out, but I'll log back in on my phone. And I don't know, the floor is open to.
Awesome. Well, you know, I mean, it actually, it's so interesting, right? When you talk about joy, I've been watching, I think I've said a million times on this talk, I've been watching Abraham Hicks, and how amazing that energy is, right? And the energy of joy. I had someone that was working to manifest an at-home job because his mom is on hospice. And so, you know, he's had to miss so much work because he has to be home because his mom's on hospice. And so he's like, I really need to manifest, you know, an at-home job so that I don't have to go in, I don't have to miss work. And so I was talking to him and I was asking him, okay, what is it that you have created? And he begins to tell me, well, I just want it, so that I'm creating it. And I'm like, well, there's an energy of want that is actually in the state of lack. So when you want something, you're actually creating resistance because it's there. So I had suggested to him, what you need to do is tell the universe what you require and then go into the state of joy, knowing that it's already in existence. This is stuff I'm sure, you know, that I'm talking about now that you guys already know. But there are people that are watching right now who don't. They think, I want this. I'm putting my thoughts out there that I want this to come. And then, you know, I'm wondering why it hasn't come 30 days later, 60 days later, whatever it is. And so I really have found that staying in the state of joy, staying in that energy of knowingness that the universe is already providing, it's already on its way, it's already created, it's already aligned with us. We just need to align with the energy. We need to align with that frequency rather than the frequency aligning with us. And so one of the things that I had discovered when I was watching Abraham Hicks is she was saying that sometimes we say we want something and we are, you know, maybe cognizantly saying, hey, we want this, but our actions and our subconscious is actually creating the opposite. So we have that push and pull, and I call it, you know, the state of lack. When our brain is in the state of lack, we concentrate on how much we don't have something, that we actually create the resistance. So I would love to move the energy into this. We can talk about this and then maybe even go to the grid and put in what it feels like to be in the state of joy, to give that to the collective, so that they can know how to access it and how to create that in that energy, so that we can shift their frequencies and create manifestations for them.
That'd be-
Yeah, that's an interesting mission. I like it.
Yeah, I love that.
And if I can add something to the discussion, I learned actually in my ministerial studies through CSL, Centers for Spiritual Living, that there is a difference between expecting something and living in expectancy. When you live in expectancy, you just know that it is and sort of drop it. When people live where they're expecting something, they're looking for signs of it. And it can create the opposite emotion, because it can literally create anger because it hasn't happened yet. Why hasn't it happened yet? When you live in expectancy, you, through your faith, you simply know that it is, that it will manifest at the right way, at the right time, and give it that gratitude and that joy, and then it just happens. So I think that's interesting how you stated that, Shannon. I think this is kind of along the same lines.
Oh, I would say yes, absolutely. And then there's a difference, like you were saying, in levels of expectancy, right? A knowingness is different than expecting, right? A knowingness is knowing, hey, it already is. When you know something, you don't shift, right? You don't shift that, well, it's not here yet. It's the knowingness. It is what it is, right? And you know, like you know, like you know. And so if it doesn't arrive right away, then you have to look at yourself and say, where's my frequency at? And how do I raise my frequency to match my requirements? Whereas some people who expect something go, well, they're supposed to match me. It's supposed to come straight to me.
Good point.
Yeah. My grandmother growing up she was, in World War II, her husband was off in Japan. Her daughter was just born, and sometimes she would sit around the house and she's like, I don't have any money to pay the bills. I don't have any money to buy groceries. But you know what? I know something will come. I will get a check from somewhere. Something will come to me. I just know it. And she would believe it, and everyone would think she was crazy. And one day, a check came in the mail that was just the right amount of money to cover like whatever she needed to cover. And that just kept happening for her. And she learned at a really young age, like, you just have to have that faith, that knowingness, like it will come. But she never doubted it. She always knew it's gonna come. It's gonna come. Something will come and get me through this. And it always did. I always got through, because somehow I got a check. Someone would loan me money that I didn't think they would be able to be loaning me money. Something just always happened to where I was always okay. And she never doubted it. She never doubted it.
Yeah, very inspirational stories.
She was an amazing woman.
I have a story. There's everyone probably knows who Vianna Stibal is. She was a creator of theta healing, and she is the creator of theta healing. She's still with us. But she, I guess a long time before she got married and all that, she had a dream and a knowingness that her guy from Montana was going to come. She just knew it. It was a knowing. She felt it. She was spiritually connected to him. And several failed marriages later, he still hadn't come. And she was on her last marriage, or on her marriage, and it was getting ready to end. And she told the guy who she was married to, if my guy from Montana doesn't come within the next, I don't even know the time frame that she gave, but if he doesn't come, you and I can get back together. And he was like, well, okay, however that worked out. And so she she went to a sweat lodge with a friend of hers, and she said that she didn't normally go to them, but that her friend had invited her, so she decided to go to the sweat lodge. And she saw this guy who was running the sweat lodge, and kind of, felt like, wow, he's such a good looking guy, hey, he's probably the one for me, but let me see. So he pursued her to go out, and she was playing hard to get, and decided finally to go out with him. And his name was Guy. And she's like, oh, this is awesome. I just need to get a little bit more information from him. And he said, I have a ranch in Idaho. And then she instantly cut him off. She said, nope, you're not my guy from Montana. I'm out. And she didn't say it to him. She said it in her mind. And so he, being fascinated with her, still pursued her. And she kept saying, no, 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 no. And then one day he decided to show up to a barbecue that her family was having. And she told him, look, you're not the right guy. You're not my guy from Montana. And he said, is that all that this takes? He goes, I'm originally from Montana, and I actually have a ranch in Montana. And at that moment, she realized that he was the one. And so even when they're right in front of our face and they're there, our knowingness, sometimes can get in the way too, because we're so focused on our knowingness that we don't see that the universe has already provided what it is we've asked for.
Yeah.
So I always take that story as a good sign, because I've also been in that creation mode and the knowingness mode, similar to her. And so it would be, it's very interesting. I always take that as like, yep, it happens. And I just need to make my frequency the way it needs to be, so that I can align with it.
Yeah, you don't want to blind yourself to what's in front of you and what's happening, because you have yourself so fixated on thinking that you know what you want or what you know. And it's like you have to be aware and be in the present. Because if you're living in the future, like waiting for him to come, he's never going to come. He's probably right in front of you and you just don't see him,
Yeah. And it's about being in the state of joy, right? Just being in the moment, being in the state of joy, being here with the universe, with the flow, understanding that the universe provides everything you could ever want, need, or desire.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's a really hard thing for people to grasp and really trust that it's possible for them to do this thing. And so I think that doing this work today might really help everyone that has those doubts or isn't clear about how to manifest, or just has forgotten, because they're not in a state of joy, So I think this is really going to be a good lesson today.
Well, we're just gonna up and help all them folks.
I'm being drawn to Gina for a minute. Gabriel's kind of pointing at you, and so I'm going to, yes. I would love to hear your input, Gina, because for some reason I'm being drawn to ask you.
Well, I have a great manifestation story. But what comes to mind first, though, is Bashar was just talking about this at the Conscious Life Expo last month. And somebody asked about like spontaneous healings and spontaneous miracles. And they were saying that it's not that it happened here, it's that the person's vibration shifted to a timeline in which that already occurs, in which the health is already perfect, or the money is already there, or the truck is now over there and not here, So there's that. But my manifestation story is years ago, we were planning a trip to Europe, and my then husband said, I need you to have 25, was it 25? Oh no, $1,000, $1,000 for walking around money. And I was working as a writer at the time, and I was like barely making ends meet as it was. It was like, okay, I've got 6 months. How am I going to do $1,000? Like, what can I sell? How much blood can I get? All of that. And it wasn't happening. I'd save up some money, and then like I need tires or something, and it'd all go away. And so, but I kept focusing on $1,000 in university, $1,000, $1,000. And so like all the time. And so it's interesting to me because I was definitely in a place of like fear and lack. I was not vibrating in the expectancy that it was already there, gratitude that it was already there, and all these things that we talked about. And so, but I was writing resumes at the time, and it started picking up and getting really brisk and doing like 8, 10, 12 resumes in a week for several weeks at a time. And I had this really solid month, like 2 months before we had to go, 6 weeks maybe before we had to go. And I looked back on my sales for that period, and it was $1,001.
Wow.
And then it continues. So yeah, that was 2 months before the trip. And then it just kept going gangbusters the whole time. And so at the end of that month, 2 weeks before we were going to go, I looked back at my sales report. And so that month compared to that month the year prior, my growth in revenue was 1,000%.
Wow.
Right. And then so I had a good laugh about that. And then I ended up with $2,500 to take to Europe as our walking around money. But what's interesting, I mean, it's a great story, and it was so funny because it was 1,001. The universe was like, I got you +1. And then like, you think this is your goal? No, 1,000% is what you should be expecting and asking for. But I was very much, until that $1,001, very much in a place of fear and lack and stress. So I wasn't doing it right. I don't know what that means.
Well, also, Gina, you just went through that in your own personal life recently, and you made it through. It sounds like you're doing well. So you must have had that knowingness that you would be able to pull it off and make it through.
Right. And the money that I had 2 huge influxes of cash that made getting to this point possible. I need more influxes of cash. No, I'm grateful that I already have massive influxes of cash because, you know, rent will be due in 8 days. But yeah, and it comes from, and that's kind of the thing, it comes like sort of not necessarily in the ways that you would expect, not from the 12 sessions I did this week or whatever. It was from a book deal that came through, and it was a client that bought 10 packages of 10 sessions, and you know, like these big things that happen. So I always set the statement that I earn and receive whatever amount it is, because it can come from whatever source. It doesn't just have to be the money that I earn from the known sources that I have.
Gotcha.
Yeah, start entering those sweepstakes.
Right. I was just, you know, maybe I do need to play the lotto. I was just talking to my friend about that today. I have big plans for what I do if I win the lotto, but I never play the lotto. So maybe
You can't win if you don't play.
Yeah.
True. Okay, I'll go buy a scratcher today.
It's so interesting, isn't it? You know, we you know, people think have a mindset that money is limited, and there's always, I mean, I know this is from our ancestral energy, you know, that money doesn't grow on trees and blah blah blah, but actually it does. You know?
Yeah.
And the great thing is that, and I had my son at a very young age actually lecture me on this one, that money is an energy. Money is not a piece of paper. Money is an energy. And so the energy that you put out is, it has to be in motion. So what's in motion must stay in motion. So as you're paying out these bills, and you're paying high gas prices, and you're paying all of this kind of money, and it's going out, there's a knowingness that that money is coming back tenfold, right? And I do tenfold. My son seems to think I think small, but you know, it's a minimum of tenfold. So every time I'm putting money out, doesn't matter where it's going, it's coming back tenfold, minimum of tenfold. And I love the idea of what you're talking about 1,000%, right? I'm open for the universe, and I'm always open for the universe to give me a raise, and to continue to give me a raise, and to do it by astronomical amounts. And I open it, and I love it, right? And I allow for that energy to flow into me. It's when we have all of these belief systems that oh, well, it can't. And, oh, well, the environment, oh, well, the state of the world right now. I mean, all of those are limiting belief systems. Yes, there's crap going on in the world, but that should never affect your ability to be able to receive.
Yeah, good point.
And there's something there too that you said, the energy of money. So that was a big, and I'm thinking like now I have a gap after this. I was going to do some writing for somebody, but I think I'm going to work on myself instead. A huge shift for me was recognizing that money is an energy. And so I can bring that form like I did with the collective conscious when we all worked together. And when I do with my clients, I bring their energy in front of me and connect with it. So I brought in the energy of money and connected with it. And my friend was saying, because I was saying, oh, I hate money. Money's so stressful. Yada, yada. And she's like, it's like you're saying to a person, I hate you. Come here. I want you. I hate you. You're so stressful. Why would it stick around? After a while, I'll be like, well, forget you. And off it goes. And so I pulled out a pad of paper. I was like, I need to write a love to money. And so I put like Gina plus money and a big heart. And then this whole silly doodle, Gina plus money to I love money. And then it was like, I love money. Oh, and money loves me. Money loves Gina and plus G and that all over the place. And that was a huge shift. And so now it's I love money and money loves me. Changing that energy of your relationship.
I had a flashback to junior high when my friend had a crush on a boy and she would write her name on a pad with his last name. So you're Gina Money. It's exactly like your rapper name.
Yeah, Gina Money. I love it. G Money.
That's funny, G Money. All right, so let's go ahead and let's tap into the grid now, that especially since we've gotten the good energy flow of money and the good feeling of what it feels like to have it flow. But I also I'm being encouraged to when we go into the grid to actually give the energy of joy, give the energy of what it is to be in the flow, to allow for the flow of the universe, to allow yourself to receive and to give, and to allow for that cycle to come in and to really push through. And if you guys have any other thoughts about that, I would love to hear it as well. Often when I'm working with clients and they want to know what it is, or to raise their flow in their lives, I often have them imagine that they're at a trickling stream and they're standing at the trickling stream. And when they look left, they see all the boulders and all of the blocks that are keeping the rest of the water from coming. And so they go one by one. So they look at the first boulder or the first block and intuitively kind of just feel it out. What is this? What is this block? And then the block will come. The thought will come. Oh, this is my parents' belief systems. And then you watch that boulder disintegrate, or the block, or whatever it is, you watch it disintegrate and being sucked up in the vacuum. And then the water starts to move a little bit more. And then you watch again, go to the second boulder. What is this second boulder? What is it in my energy field that's creating this boulder? And let's say it's your belief systems about money and what you have said about money. And then you say disintegrate, and you watch it fall away and being sucked up in the vacuum. And now the river is flowing a little bit faster. And you go to the third boulder. What is the third boulder? What does it represent to you? And then you watch it disintegrate and sucked up in the vacuum. Now the water's flowing a little bit faster. And what usually comes right here is fear. So people go, I will be swept away by this river because it's now flowing a lot faster. And what happens if you just went with the flow? allowed for the river to flow with you, and you can flow with it safely and securely, and that you're enjoying where this river is taking you. And then you just continue until you have no more blocks, no more ideas of what might be keeping that river from flowing. And then the river arrives at amazing roaring rapids. And it's just so much fun to ride, and it's so much fun to flow with and see the amazing places that this flow will take you. So I'd like to put that into the grid. And if anybody else has any ideas or any visualizations, that would be wonderful.
This reminds me of a meditation I haven't done in ages. I guess it's time to bring it back. So you're standing in a dry riverbed, and there are the banks of the river on either side, and then cliffs that go high up on the left and right. You're facing upriver, and there are these giant metal doors that are solid with big solid metal rivets, and it goes up to the top of the gorge. And behind it is something. So you raise up your hands and energetically open the gates, and whoever has a dog might meet their Zoom.
Cynthia, can you mute yours, please?
Or run away. I think she's choosing to flee. That works too. Thank you, Cynthia. So we open the floodgates, and cash that flows like water floods in a giant wave out through the gates towards us. And the message is, the abundance of the universe flows to me as a never-ending river. I am a worthy and responsible recipient of the abundance of the universe. All my needs and wants are met and more. And as it reaches you, it swirls around you, lifts you up, and carries you joyfully downstream. And you notice downstream, the river ends in a collection of all the blessings that the abundance of the universe provides. Your ideal living situation, friends and family, perhaps there's the cities that you'll travel to with this abundance, all the people you'll be able to help gathered there as the abundance and you flow towards it. Personally, I work with clients, so I also notice around me on the banks of the river are gathered people. And these are my ideal clients. I am already surrounded by an abundance of ideal clients now. My ideal clients find me irresistible. My ideal clients are ready for change, value my work, and have the money to pay for it. I provide value to my ideal clients, and they provide value to me in equal measure. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. That's my contribution. Anybody else?
Well, I've been working with aspects of self that exist on different dimensions and throughout the universe. And I asked to see these consciousness lighting up, and they're lighting up everywhere, everywhere. So at this time, I'd like to ask for all of our teams to come in, any archangels, any higher aspects of self, any elementals, any way showers or guides, all aspects of self on all dimensional levels who carry the same consciousness dedicated towards creating the highest good for all to come in. And I ask that our teams be conduits for the greatest joy of Christ consciousness that can and has been experienced in the human condition, like a bright light blasting throughout the universe, finding its way to our beautiful blue orb, our Mother Earth, and from there disseminating out through all of her properties, through earth, through air, through water, aided by the dragons with fire, to transmute, to put at ease all of those souls who are finally and now accepting the truth that they are more than what they know. And to replace any uneasiness with that internal joy that comes from connecting to Source and that internal Christ consciousness. And I see it as a white light lighting up everywhere, every heart on the planet, every animal, every fish, every mammal, every personification of God itself is now lighting up. And I see that white light now turning into an amethyst light, all hues of the violet, deep pinks, almost like neon, just lighting up from inside, every soul accepting, honoring, and loving the light that is within them at all times. And this light is called joy. And so I say thank you to all of our masters, all of our teams, all of our guides for being conduits for that joy and bringing it here to our planet for our people at this time in space. And I say thank you for being present. And I am complete.
So amazing. Let's just watch that energy flow into the grid, flow into the heart of the grid, and pump out to every single person in this world and in the collective. And those who do this work, who may not be on this call, but do this work as well, allow them and their energy to contribute to the beautiful energy that we just created.
In case anyone else is experiencing something similar, as Cynthia was talking, my heart started to pound with unusual energy, and I could feel the cloth of my shirt in the front and in the back moving with it, and the back where my spine is too, moving with it. And so I connected consciously with both the Earth Star and Soul Star chakra and directed that love energy up and down into the grids below and above. And then that gave the energy a place to flow so that it's no longer stuck. For me, it was stuck, it felt like. So I allowed it to flow into both grids, and now it's moving beautifully.
Anybody feel the energy flowing through the third eye and the crown?
Yeah, my whole body is vibrating. This is beautiful, really lovely energy. It carries with it the excitement of possibilities.
And while we're at it, we'll allow for the energy to flow and give the opportunity for a vibrational frequency raise so that we may vibrate at the same level as our intentions, as our knowingness, as our requirements. And I want to come back around into those beautiful souls that chose to release their bodies here on earth and to help in the etherical plane. We give them gratitude and love. We invite them to help raise the frequency as well. How does that feel to everybody?
Good.
Yeah, my ears are ringing like crazy. Super good energy.
Yeah, I'm
I-
feeling the energy of completeness. So I was wondering
Yeah.
how everyone else was feeling.
I'm feeling good. I had a vision that I asked, the masters above to give me the strength to shower and transmit love everywhere I go and share it with everyone I see and meet and am near. And all of a sudden I started like elevating and my body started getting brighter, brighter and brighter until I was raised up in nothing but a beam of light. And then a collective of people came around and encircled me like one of those like one of those rides at the amusement park where the floor drops out and everyone's against the wall. And then I became part of that group, which I'm assuming is like us. And that's what happened. And we were all radiating this huge light over the grid and the earth.
Well, and Jennifer, I have to say, and I've mentioned this before, my take on you is that is your role. Just by your very nature, you transmute the energy around you wherever you go.
That would be interesting because I find myself to be kind of negative a lot. I have to force myself to be positive all the time.
Yeah, most people do, but that's my take on you. There are a lot of extra beautiful souls out there that do that for the planet.
I have been told that before, that I am here to hold the space for others and create a softer, more light space for us.
Yeah.
Well, I'm feeling the energy of completeness. And so if there's anybody that wants to add anything, this would be a great time to do so.
I'm complete.
Well, in that vision, I just want to say there was also all that like ultraviolet light shining out everywhere. So like iridescence and like the colors when light bounces off of steel high rises and stuff. So I don't know if that's anyone needs to hear any of that, but there was a lot of iridescence and I can't think of the word, but I think everyone knows what I'm saying.
Okay, well, so we're going to thank all of our guides, our teams, all of the masters that came in, all of the angels that came in, all of the spirits who have crossed over, that have come in. We'll thank that energy. We'll allow for this energy to continue to cycle, to continue to move, even after we're done and complete with this process.
Now, can I ask a question about what we did today? How, when people listen to this, will they tap in to know that they can manifest what they want?
Well, I feel like it's been through this whole process, or this whole video, we've actually given them the how-tos.
Okay.
They just need to follow, the energy of joy, and follow the energy of giving your requirements, letting it go, and staying in the state of joy.
Might have drifted off throughout the middle of it and missed some of it, so I'm just so everyone, when they listen to it, will be like, okay, that's how it's done.
Yes.
I do want to
Alright.
say right before we started our work, it occurred to me to check my bank account balance because I do have rent due in a week, and the exact amount I need for rent is in there right now.
You gotta get off of this call, Gina, and play that Rolling Stones song. You can't always get what you want, right? But you're getting
But
what
if
you
you try
need.
sometimes, you might find that you get what you need.
Mhm.
I would argue with Keith on that. I think you can always get what you want.
Thank you, Gina. I was about to say the same thing. Thank
That is
you.
an
No,
old paradigm
that's
that I
way
reject.
too limiting.
Yes.
I like it.
Great
Well,
song though. Great song.
Great song, but I don't subscribe to that baloney.
What does Jules say? I do not consent to that fuckery.
Yes, I do not
Yeah.
consent to that.
I do not consent. Well, thank you all, beautiful ladies. I wish you blessings until we meet again.
Yes, lots of love to you. See you guys on Thursday.
Thank
Bye.
you.
All right,
Yeah.
bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.